Spring is here. Before we know it, the pollens are going to be falling, and all of us are going to be thinking, gee, what color is my car and what color is my house? I can't tell if it's blue or green because of all the pollen that's going to be in the air. Nick Murray is on the show with us this morning. He has Certa Pro painters here in town, and he says not only can he make your house look back to its original color, they can do all the prep work that goes along with it. So good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
You shared with me something before we got going that I had never thought of before, and that is if you have a home that has siding, you know, the exterior is painted, if you don't keep that paint refreshed every so often, it actually can damage your house over time. I never had thought of that.
Yeah, so it's one of those things that sometimes people push off, which is doable for a little bit, but if you push it off too long, that paint is the only thing protecting your home, which your home is your biggest investment. So getting a paint job, rule of thumb's about 10 years, that kind of keeps everything safe with caulking and prepping and keeping that coat of paint fresh, and that's the only thing keeping it from the sun and weather. So
we kind of live in a world now where it seems like you go to a shop at a store and you can get everything under one roof, often, you know, kind of mass purchasing. At Certa Pro, y'all specialize and focus pretty much in one area. So painting is your level of expertise, but with that you say you do need to have the prep work because that's key to the good job.
Yeah, for sure. So we only do paint. With that comes the prep work, which does involve some carpentry, minor drywall repairs, etc. People don't want to go find a pressure washer or a small carpenter or a drywall guy. They want to have a one-stop shop for that project. So we try to provide that for folks. But sometimes people ask me for hey, do you do tile or remodels? And I say, hey, I'd love to say yes, but that's not our area of expertise. You're probably better off calling somebody else, and I try to give them some numbers or something like that.
Do you wish that you had a dime for every time you've had the conversation with somebody about, do I want to use flat versus satin versus a semi-gloss paint?
Yeah, so that's definitely part of the project, or part of the process is educating the customers. You know, they don't know as much about paint, and nor should they. So just kind of steering them in the right direction is part of the estimate process when we come on site.
But you know, I mean, it all depends on your personal preference. Some people love, I would be in this category, I love color. So having different rooms have different colors to reflect the mood of the room. But that monochromatic look kind of came in years ago, but not every room is going to need the same type of paint. Same color maybe, but not type. Is that right? Yeah,
so you can do different sheens, as they call it. And I always recommend, like during kitchens or bathrooms, you want to have a satin or an eggshell on those areas, just because they have a lot more wear and tear with the water. So showers, etc., splashing from the sink.
Right.
You don't want flat, you can't wash it, so a satin or eggshell does give you a little bit of ability to take a wet rag and kind of clean things up, so you don't have to call us so often.
What do you do in terms of matching paint? That's kind of evolved too now, right? If somebody's having a room remodel, or just they need to refresh a certain area of their house, but they want the paint color to pretty much be the same, can you match it to the wear of aging?
Yes, you can. So if you're like anyone else at home, you probably have a couple paint cans under your basement or the back deck or etc. And usually that formula kind of wears off, and we have to take that old paint from on the home or in the bathroom or somewhere in your house. You can laser match it at Sherwin-Williams or Benjamin Moore to get that exact match. We do have to say, hey, there might be a little bit of difference because it is fresh new paint, so it might have a little bit of different sheen, but color matching is not a problem. We do it every day.
So talk about your staff, the guys that are out there doing the painting. Do you train them, or do most of them come to you already with a lot of years in the business?
Yeah, so we bank on our guys already knowing how to paint for the most part. We do onboard some newer folks and kind of assign them with an existing crew for training purposes. But we have our residential and production, residential sales and production team. And then we have about 25 painters or so going each day slinging paint. And our job is to go around and make sure everything goes smooth.
It's amazing to watch somebody who knows what they're doing paint, because you're probably the one over there with the painter's tape marking everything off and hoping that you can not drip it on the hardwood floor. Your guys just know what they're doing.
Yeah, so you come in and prep, cover things with plastic and put down drop cloths on the floor, etc. Things happen. It's a naturally messy process, but that's one of the benefits of using a professional that stands behind their work. If something does go wrong, we always do right by the customer.
What does that mean exactly, since you've touched on that? What do you mean if something does go wrong, you stand by it?
Yeah, so we're all humans, to where if you've ever painted before, you might have a drip go, or you spill something, or you miss a spot. and you might not notice for 2 weeks if you accidentally missed a spot or so.
Right.
So that being said, we provide that level of comfort and trust that, hey, if you see something down the road that we might have missed or whatever, give us a call and we'll come on back and make sure we do it right.
Gotcha. So in talking about the exterior painting, I mentioned siding, but a lot of people have gotten to where they're painting their brick homes. Do y'all do that?
Yeah, that's super popular. Everyone, those in the 90s or so, all those brick homes, they are currently being painted and they look awesome. Some of my favorite projects for before and after. But to do that, of course, you need a masonry primer first. And they do have some lime wash, which is kind of a mineral-based paint. So different products out there to make it breathable and sustainable for keeping your home looking pretty and total makeover.
And I know that you had mentioned to me about the prep work and that pressure washing was part of that, and I think my brain kind of spun that in the wrong way. You're only going to pressure wash if you're painting for somebody, right? They shouldn't call you to come and pressure wash their home?
Correct. So typically, if you're just going to pressure wash your home, I'm going to steer you to a pressure washing company. It's going to be most likely the best bang for your buck because that's what they're set up to do. Their whole business is modeled off of that. We don't mind if we're going to do painting later on or do someone a favor if they're a previous customer, etc. But usually if you're just going to pressure wash, go ahead and call the folks that only specialize in pressure washing.
The early bird is your friend right now. If folks call you here in the next little bit, you're about a week out.
Yep, so if you give us a call and you give us a thumbs up, we're about a week out to come on out and get a crew out to your job site. That usually pushes to about 2 weeks here in mid-April or so, but we try to keep it under 2 weeks for folks because I always say there's no such thing as an emergency paint job, but everyone wants their project go ahead and knocked off their to-do list, so we try to keep it between right around 2 weeks.
So here's what you can do. Simply call them at 650-4575. Also learn more at CertaPro.com. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you. Appreciate it.